Welcome. In front of me is a Samsung Galaxy S23 Plus, and today I'll go over unboxing along with a quick overview of this specific device. So let's just jump straight to it. Now, to get started, I'm just going to quickly mention that this is the 512 gig version and 8 gigs of RAM, and this is the cream color. Nice name. Anyway, we do have a little bit of pull tabs right here on the top and the bottom, but if they are anything to go by like the S23, they are absolutely useless. Oh no, these ones actually went all the way. Wow, okay, so maybe I just had a faulty one that didn't want to peel correctly, or just like ripped in the middle. Anyway, no. In here we get the phone, which I do kind of like how they are doing this packaging, where just kind of like flash. It's just a little sticker that they put on here, but it just looks nice. Here we got a cable. I did make a little bit of an oopsie in the S23, where I did say that they didn't even include a cable. It's my bad. There is a cable in here. There we go. So type C to type C. Though obviously if you have a older charger, chances are it's not type C, so this cable is absolutely useless to you. It might be good to connect it to like a newer laptop with type C ports, but other than that, most of us probably have a type A charger, which kind of makes this cable redundant. And obviously there was also paperwork, but no one cares about paperwork, so I'm just gonna eat it to decide. Anyway, let's just take that off. This is on a sticker. Then we get our nice shiny brand new device right over here. There we go. So while it's booting up, I'm gonna quickly go into the screen specs, which I usually start with those. So in terms of screen, this is a 6.6 inch display, 1080p by 2440 or 2340, which puts it at 390 pixels per inch. So a little bit smaller pixel density than the S23. Just because the resolution is the same, though the screen here is bigger, obviously just stretching it out, so pixel density will be a little bit smaller. It's also a dynamic AMOLED display, 120 Hz refresh rate, HDR10 Plus, and 1750 nits peak brightness, and Cornell Gorilla Glass Victus 2 as a glass right here. And that's about all the specs we have about the display. Now I will try to go quickly through the setup, but because this is Samsung, it's going to tell me that I need to stupidly connect to Wi-Fi for some unexplained reason, which would be nice if they would actually let me know instead of connect because connect. So I'm gonna connect, and then it's going to tell me even stupider message that I need to reboot my device because reasons. Service provider status, checking service provider information. This could take several minutes. Now once it checks that whatever it's going to be checking, even though keep in mind there is no SIM card whatsoever, so not sure what service provider it's checking and why I need to reboot my device when there's no freaking SIM card in here is beyond me, but I'm not an engineer from Samsung, so maybe there's something that I just don't know. Still, it would be nice if I would be explained why I need to do it. Now while this is doing something that no clue why it's doing it, because there's no SIM card once again, and it's just kind of wasting our time, I'm gonna, I guess, touch upon different things of the device. So let's flip it over while it's doing nothing and touch upon the cameras. So we have a triple camera setup. It's the same exact one as it is on the S23. Even though this is a bigger version, it's still running the same camera. So 50 megapixel wide sensor, 10 megapixel telephoto, and 12 megapixel ultra wide. And when it comes down to it, with the with these cameras at the back, you can shoot at 8K, 24 or 30 frames, 4K, 30, 60, 1080p, obviously all that plus more, with a slow motion of 240. And if you drop the resolution even lower, you can shoot at 720p at 960 frames per second. Now keep in mind, this is super slow motion, so it's not like you're gonna be getting like 960 frames normal like resolution and normal speed. This is like slow motion. Now at the front, oh come on, I just messed up. Oh no, I went back. Anyway, I did it quickly this time. So service provider setup. There's no service provision here because there is no SIM card. Go figure. Anyway, right here in this hole punch camera, we have a 12 megapixel wide sensor, and again 4K 30 60 frames and 1080p 30 and I assume 60 as well. So that's about all we have about the cameras. Now in terms of ports right here and all that stuff, we have a under display fingerprint sensor, we have a Face ID, we have a charging port type C at the bottom, speakers, microphone, and a dual SIM tray at the bottom as well. Now just to kind of show this for everybody. Go. This is just a SIM tray. There is no SD card support. There basically never was for a long time for like flagship devices from Samsung. So obviously no reason to expect it to change right here. No eSIM found. I'm gonna quickly go to the setup, hopefully try to finish it off. Now continuing with the actual like peripherals right here, or just ports and stuff like that, we have a volume rockers at the at the side, so that's the right side of the phone, then power button as well. At the top we just have a speaker, not speaker, it's the microphone. Speakers I assume will be also shared with this little slit right here for your microphone. Gosh, why am I just kind of blanking out that microphone? The well, what do you call this? The earpiece basically. That's barely visible. There we go. You can kind of see this little cutout right here at a specific angle, but it's so tiny that like it's hard to even see it. If you're not looking for it, obviously you won't see it, but I am assuming it's going to give some of the sound that will be coming off of this device. And that's about all we have right here. Nothing on the left side of the device, nothing really on the top. So yeah, most of it is at the bottom and the side. And we're almost done. Okay, now quickly going into a couple last things about this device. All right, we also have this skip out on all this. Yes, skip out on all Samsung bloatware. And finish. And as you can see, we'll be presented with our One UI Android. This is Android 13, I believe. So let's quickly check about this device, and we're looking at not this. Software information. Yep, Android 13 and One UI version 5.1. Now, battery size in here is significantly bigger over the non-plus version. The S23 came with 3900. Right here, bigger phone, bigger battery. This is 4700 mAh battery, so obviously should last you a bit longer, I assume, than the S23, because the performance of this device will be most likely almost identical, but the battery is bigger. And insult to injury, this is a plus version. They did include a faster charging. Nice. 45 watt faster charging. Now this was a slow clap, but I'm not actually being sarcastic about it. This is a great addition to the device, considering even the Fold 4, which is basically their previous flagship, right before they released this one, came with 25 watt charging, which is an absolute insult and a middle finger to me, which I purchased this device to come with such a pitiful, pathetic charging. So I am frustrated about that one. The device costs basically twice as much as this, but yet comes with half the charging speed of this. And because it has a smaller battery and consumes more power, it's just, like I said, an absolute middle finger to me, and it just triggered the hell out of me. But this one does come with a faster charging, which is just amazing. Even the S23, for some reason, did only stick with 25-watt charging, which again, I at this point, I think it's deliberately done just to screw with people because, oh, you want a cheaper phone? Go F yourself. I mean, that's literally the message that I'm getting. Considering this is just not much bigger, it has a significantly bigger battery, and well and behold, they did manage to basically pop in double the charging speed right here. And in terms of charging speed, they're claiming that it will get you to 65% in 30 minutes, which is pretty good. They did also advertise that the S23 can get up to 50% in 30 minutes. I kind of doubt that one, considering that battery isn't much bigger than my Fold, and my Fold charges basically at the same speed, and I cannot get half of that in 30 minutes, so I would call BS on that one. Here, this is 45 watts. Totally possible to get 65, probably even more in 30 minutes with such a charging speed. But again, keep in mind, you didn't get a charger. So either you have one that is capable of charging at 45 watts, or you will need to just purchase extra. And this phone already comes at a whopping $955. So you didn't get a charger for that. So that is another cost, probably $50, I assume. I'm just guessing. Knowing Samsung, that's probably the price that they will charge you for their 45-watt charger for this device. I could be wrong though, so just kind of going on what I expect. But like I said, it could be completely wrong. Still, the fact that you didn't get a charger, that's a fact. Now, we also have wireless charging, so you can obviously slap it on a Qi charger, get it charged up like that, though I don't really see any kind of rating about it, so I have no idea how quick it charges, but it does state that we have 4.5 watt reverse wireless charging. So if you have something like Galaxy Buds, like these ones they have right here, you can just kind of like whoopsie daisy slap them on here and they will be charging up. Though keep in mind, you don't just put them on. One does not just put their buds on the phone and they will start charging. You do need to turn that on in the settings where you do enable the wireless charging or reverse wireless charging. And what is there else to say about this device? In terms of storages, this is the higher version, the 512 gigs with 8 gigs of RAM, but you also have a little bit of a lower one with 256 gigs of storage, but also 8 gigs of RAM. So RAM stays the same, just you get double the storage or half the storage depending on how you look at it. And we are actually running UFS 4.0, which is a newer type of storage. Obviously it's going to be faster than the 3.0 that was previously a standard on most of the flagship devices from Samsung. So there we go. Now that's the first time I'm seeing UFS 4.0, so I have no clue how fast it is. I assume this is just a pure guess that it's gonna be something close to like an NVMe storage, which is what iPhones use. I'm assuming they're gonna be trying to compete with that. That's probably going to be the case right here, but like I said, this is just a guess, so I could be completely wrong about it. So if you're really curious about the speeds of this storage, I do recommend checking out benchmarks of just the storage speeds itself, and then you will get obviously a clear idea of how fast and capable the storage is. And with that being said, there is one last thing to say, and probably the biggest one. So I will start off by saying that I'm from Europe, and this is the European counterpart of this device. That makes a huge difference because previously, if you had a Samsung in Europe, it was obviously going to be running a Exynos processor, which was Samsung's proprietary processor. But now Europe is actually getting the Snapdragons as well. So this is running in Europe a Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, newest, best processor for Androids that you can possibly get right now. So that is pretty nice. Now the reason I'm clarifying all this, like going into detail, is because previously the phones in Europe costed the same exact amount as they do in US, while getting the Exynos processor, while the US was getting Snapdragons. Snapdragons were better in general. Exynos was close there, but obviously not as good as Snapdragons, and we had to pay the same amount for a phone that for like, if you look at everything, the phone was inferior. We paid the same amount for an inferior product, and because we are from Europe, we had no choice to even like go for the Snapdragon version, which probably most of us probably would prefer to go for. And additionally, Exynos usually was running a little bit hotter than Snapdragon, so again, insult to injury. But this time around, all the new Galaxies are running on a Snapdragon 8 Gen 2. So thumbs up, this is great. So that is one of the best changes. I'll also mention that this was already a thing with the Samsung Folds. So Fold 4 was running also a Snapdragon 8 Gen 1 though. I think Gen 1 or Gen 1 Plus, whatever it was. So here we just got a newer version, the updated Snapdragon, but again, it's a Snapdragon, so that's freaking fantastic. And that's basically all I have to say about this device. So in general, it is an improvement over the S23, the smaller little brother, but it's also more expensive, so you pay for additional upgrades. Now, probably one of the biggest upgrades will be the charging speed. At least for me, that is one of the most important things. After using a Fold for half a year, charging speed at 25 watts is an absolute nightmare. And if you were ever used to charging your device above like 30 watts, dropping to 25 and having the Samsung slow-ass charging does really impact your like usability and enjoyment of the device, where you basically half of the time you grab the phone and you realize that it's like almost in the process of dying and you need to find a charger, but because you will have a dead phone soon. But here, because we have that 45 watt charging speed, this is no longer the problem. At least I would argue that it's no longer a problem, because you can pop it in for like 20 minutes and have enough battery charge to basically last you for the remainder of your day. And by the time you need to charge it up again, you're probably at home, comfortable in your bed, so you can plug it in and don't care anymore. So that is a fantastic upgrade right here. And considering the difference between these two devices, the S23 and S23 Plus, is not that big. So S23 comes at $800, while the S23 Plus comes at $950, so $155 but honestly, for the convenience of having faster charging and having to worry less about just having your phone charged, this in my opinion is a money that I would spend without a second thought. And obviously you also get a bigger phone, bigger display, and also bigger battery. So all of these are also contributing to that price. But in my like personal use case scenario, just paying for faster charging speed would be good enough to just get that, and I would be just happy about that one. But having a bigger display always is also nice. Well, obviously is a plus as well. But anyway, with this being said, this will conclude the overview of this device. Obviously, I usually try to focus on more negative parts of the devices, though this one actually did fix most of the problems that I've had since I was using Fold, at least on paper. There is probably going to be certain cases in here that are still just busted, like the gesture navigation. If you remove the bar from the bottom from gestures and you're using like a third-party launcher, expect just massive wonkiness and massive just something that doesn't really work well. It hasn't been optimized, nor does it look like Samsung plans to optimize for different third-party launchers, which is a shame considering this is an Android, and in my opinion this should be a requirement. But yeah, the gesture navigation works like absolute dog shit if you remove the actual like bar from the bottom, because if you have just a normal bar, just to kind of put that in here, as you can see, if you have this little bar right here, it works fine. Obviously there will be certain things that don't really translate well when you have a third-party launcher with like animations, but if you swipe up, it works. But if you remove it so it's like no longer visible at all, then at least on the Fold, massive bugs. It's just to the insane point that I do need to swipe up 5 times for the phone to actually grasp that I'm trying to go home, which is just stupid. Also, sometimes it will do like random swaps of applications for no reason, thinking that I'm just trying to like swipe to the side. It's a massive pain in the ass, and I probably don't recommend using or removing the like tiny little bar to have like a cleaner aesthetic if you're using a third-party launcher. It will just cause you more problems. Now, if you're using buttons or have the bar visible, then everything should be just working fine. Nice battery life there. But yeah, so like I said, most of the problems that will probably remain are just strictly based with the One UI from Samsung. So if you had problems with it before, you most likely will still have them now. But other than that, the problems that I had with just the charging speed, which was hardware based for the most part, this I would assume with a significantly improved charging speed will be completely removed. And yeah, that's basically all I have to say. Now anyway, if you found this video helpful, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and thanks for watching.